Banning the unvaccinated from Parliament. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because I want to talk about, well, this proposal, or what's essentially happening is that the unvaccinated will be banned from voting and participating in Parliament in Victoria. There you go. That's where it's headed. I mean, is anyone at all surprised? So, let's look at this article from The Age. MPs set to defy undemocratic vaccine mandate as opposition declares support. So the opposition party, which are the Liberals, in Victoria have declared support for this mandate for Parliament. Well, they're putting it on everyone else, so the politicians may have to abide by it too. But that just shows you, everyone, doesn't it? It just shows you. 3 Victorian MPs are set to be banned from Parliament next month for refusing to get vaccinated or produce evidence of their inoculation status. See, this is the thing. I know the Libertarian members are vaccinated. They just, in principle, don't want to provide that evidence. Late on Thursday night, the state government circulated a motion to upper house members stating that in order to protect the health and safety of members and parliamentary staff, MPs must have their first jab by October the 22nd. It's always for health and safety, isn't it? A lot of evil can be done for health and safety. I remember driving with a lawyer, and she was surprised. She was a young lawyer, working for the union movement, and how they're just concerned with health and safety, she was saying. Forest Hill MP, Neil Angus, a Liberal Party member, told several colleagues he was unwilling to get a COVID-19 vaccine. That will make him ineligible to sit in Parliament under the government's push, supported by the opposition, to mandate vaccines. Remember when they weren't going to be mandated, or they wouldn't be? Senior Liberal sources confirmed to The Age that Mr Angus told opposition leader Matthew Guy on Thursday that he would not be inoculated. Mr Angus declined to comment. Mr Guy told The Age the coalition supported the motion, meaning it would pass the Parliament. He said he was urging and encouraging all his MPs, including Mr Angus, to get vaccinated before the deadline later this month. Upper House Liberal Democrat MP David Limbrick said he and party colleague Tim Quilty would refuse to hand over their medical details, even though both are vaccinated. Mr Limbrick said the condition breached the human rights of participation in public life. Oh, those damn principled libertarians, causing problems. And this is why you want a mix of people in your parliament, everyone. This is why. So, at the very least, it gives another voice to this issue that's out there in the public, that David is getting some exposure and drawing attention to this issue. This is why you want a mix. This is why you don't want to think you're just wasting your vote for the major two. Oh, the minors, they can't do much. There's still a voice. He's still here, a voice advocating against this. That if that alone is the value, then there you go. Because he's right. This is stopping people from participating in public life. Is this the Australia that we want? Imagine if people had said this 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You would have thought they were a kook. Now look at it. The move would make Victoria the first state to block vaccine-hesitant MPs from voting on behalf of their constituents. This is the scary thing here. This is it here. It will stop them from voting, stop them from participating in Parliament. Then can Parliament truly be representative of the community if this is implemented? Well, welcome to Australia, everyone. It would also strengthen the government's position in the upper house, where it holds 17 of 40 seats and often relies on crossbenchers to pass legislation. Oh, so maybe we're seeing the real reason of it here. So here's the question. Should these politicians refuse to hand over the information under the risk of giving the regime more power, or hand it over to ensure there's at least some opposition in the upper house. I mean, the Greens are going to just fall in line. What the Rational Party, they're going to fall in line. You know, the apparent libertarians in there, they're going to fall in line. Yeah, okay. Mr. Limbrick said the government was using the mandate to reduce the number of MPs likely to vote against an upcoming emergency powers bill that would give it the legal ability to enforce many public health rules. I think this is one of the most undemocratic things I've ever seen, he said. If the motion passes, which I presume it will, we won't comply with it. We won't be handing over our details to participate in public life. Basically, what they're doing is removing opposition to their pandemic legislation. And, well, they are. They are. The Liberal Democrats are the, well, they feel like the actual opposition in Victoria at the moment. And you want that. You want a healthy dialogue and discussion in our parliament, in our chambers. You want them to have to work for it, guys. The motion to be debated next week would result in non-compliant MPs having their security access pass revoked. Treasurer Tim Pallas urged the two Liberal Democrat MPs to just shed the ideology momentarily, saying elected officials had a responsibility to set an example to their community. What do you think, everyone? Should they be setting an example? I mean, they've both publicly admitted that they're vaccinated. Is it worth, or are they going to get more attention for stepping out? You know, that could be another consideration. It could be more useful for them to be essentially kicked out of Parliament for the exposure and the attention that's drawn to this. They could have a bigger political impact than if they were to go along, even if their security was revoked and they're unable to vote. Because they know Labor and the Greens and the others will just stack the deck. They've got enough numbers. I wonder. So, that is an imperative because not complying may be an expression of their liberty, but it's also an existential threat to those that they interact with if they cannot demonstrate that they are vaccinated, Mr. Pallas said. No, it's not. No, not at all. If they've been vaccinated, it has an impact on the viral load, so they're doing the best within their abilities to provide a safe work environment for those people. You know, they'll social distance, they'll wash their hands. You do what you need to do. You don't need to carry around paperwork. Show us your papers, please. Do people actually believe this, that they're a threat to others? This is concerning, everyone. This is really othering. This is really othering. And let's have a look at the... Hang on. Can I find it? Nope, I can't. Wait a minute. What have I done there? That's fine. Okay, I can't find that chart I want to show at the moment. But still, guys, wow. He added that the state's constitution prevented MPs from casting votes from outside Parliament. Well, then what they need to do, this is what they need to do. Here's the solution to the situation. They need to have a sitting of Parliament for all the people that are participating, that are, you know, happy to give their papers. Then they need to allow those that are not happy to give their papers to view it remotely and debate remotely. They have the vote for those that have given their papers. Then they clear out the Parliament, and they bring in those that do not want to hand over their papers. Then they get to vote. That's how they need to do it. And they need to get volunteers from employees that are willing to take the risk of being near those politicians, those evil politicians that don't want to hand over their papers. This concerns me more than all the hoo-ha we're seeing about, you know, rioters, about, you know, cops arresting people, about the rubber bullets. This is much more dangerous in the long term, everyone. This is something we should be embarrassed about as Australians. This is stopping us from being a democracy. Those who refused to show their vaccination status would be treated as though they had breached an order of the House and would have their access to the precinct revoked until the second sitting day of next year. The suspension will be lifted if the MP got the jab. The Premier's office said on Thursday all Labor MPs had received at least one COVID-19 vaccine, while the Liberal Party said all but one of its MPs was vaccinated. While most MPs have been vaccinated, the mandate is likely to prompt an ethical and legal debate about whether it's reasonable to deny some voters a voice in Parliament because their elected representatives doesn't want to be vaccinated or feels uncomfortable declaring their status. Yes. And this is a debate that needs to happen. This needs to happen. And maybe by being refused entry to Parliament for a period of time, these politicians can make a bigger statement than they could by speaking in that room. The motion would also block upper house MPs from attending their offices if they were not inoculated. The mandate for MPs is aligned with government health orders that requires authorised workers, which includes politicians, to be vaccinated. However, it would go further by making it a rule of the House of Parliament that MPs without a medical exemption were vaccinated. The motion states, Parliament staff must not share MPs' vaccine status and should destroy the information provided by MPs when appropriate to do so. Public health directions are enshrined Victoria's mandate in law on Thursday revealed authorised workers who refused to get vaccinated could be fined $21,720, while businesses could be slugged almost $110,000. In addition, any individual caught giving false or misleading information about their vaccination status could be fined $10,860 and businesses $54,300. The directions also detailed that judges and magistrates would no longer be forced to get the jab to continue their job. Why not? Why are the judges and magistrates exempt? That seems a bit unfair, doesn't it? They're essential people. They should be, what's our Liberal guy here saying? It should be a role model for the community. Mr. Palace confirmed the state received advice that it could not legally bind people who worked in court proceedings because of a separation of powers issue. However, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court Anne Ferguson said the vaccination rate among judicial officials was extremely high anyway. No other parliament in Australia has mandated vaccines, but New South Wales Health Minister Brad Hazzard said last month his state speaker was exploring the idea. My personal view is that all MPs should be vaccinated, Mr. Hazzard said. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Most of the people probably are, honestly, in Parliament. I guarantee you most of them would be. A few wouldn't. A few holdouts wouldn't. But is it ethical to deny people a voice? That's what you're doing. You're undermining our entire democratic system. You may not agree with the people who are refusing to provide the information, or you may not agree with the people who refuse to get vaccinated, but you want to deny them their right to have a vote, or have a voice, and their representatives to have a vote. One of Australia's leading constitutional law scholars, Annie Toomey, said the House of Parliament had authority to make rules about the conduct of their business through standing orders under the state's constitution, but flagged issues could arise with parts of the proposed vaccination mandate. Professor Toomey from the University of Sydney said the chamber is likely to be entered to protect the health and safety of its members. Its powers are unlikely to extend outside the chamber and rooms set aside for its members, she said, but added, there are other pieces of legislation giving officers of the Parliament the power to stop people accessing the precinct. MPs also have various immunities and privileges that could allow them to access Parliament. That could potentially give rise to a legal controversy, Professor Toomey said. She also cautioned that a standing order of the House was unlikely to extend to imposing restrictions on an MP accessing the electoral office, but noted that the law in this area is intensely complex and such a provision could be supported by other pieces of legislation. Simon Longstaff, Executive Director of the Ethics Centre, said the proposal was quite remarkable, but that's not to say it's wrong. He said it was up for debate whether an MP's right to attend Parliament was absolute or whether it was conditional. To illustrate the point, Dr. Longstaff said it would be reasonable to block MPs from entering Parliament if they were suffering from an infectious disease. However, he said the government would ideally exhaust all reasonable alternatives to make Parliament a safe environment with unvaccinated MPs attending. This could include using rapid tests at entrances. Yeah, why aren't they doing that? Or using committee rooms to home unvaccinated MPs. The federal government also encouraged the federal government. Oh, I'm getting tired today. It's a hot Sunday, guys. The federal government has encouraged eligible Australians to get their COVID-19 jabs, but has to date shied away from broadly mandating vaccines. And I even got a text here from the Queensland government encouraging me to get the jab and my family members to get the jab. There you go. However, it did back state moves to make vaccines mandatory for aged care workers based on health advice. Veteran Victorian federal MP Russell Broadbent announced last week he would not receive a coronavirus vaccination. Several Liberal Party sources confirmed a motion was put before the Warragul branch of the party questioning how he could remain the federal MP for Monash given his public refusal to vaccinate for COVID-19, but it was voted down. People here are furious, and it's a huge concern, one local Liberal source told The Age. He can't go to Canberra, and Parliament won't let him. The Age has spoken to several party officials who confirmed Mr. Broadband would apply for a pair. If approved, that would mean the government's margin in the House of Representatives would not be affected. Federal opposition leader Anthony Albanese and the Federal Greens have taken a similar position to the federal government, though former opposition leader Bill Shorten supports mandatory jabs for MPs. Personnel working in federal parliament will be offered Pfizer vaccines at a clinic in the building on Monday ahead of sitting fortnight later this month. But there is no indication from either ACT authorities or the government that jabs will be a condition of entry. Several federal MPs are not vaccinated, including Mr. Broadbent and One Nation leader, Pauline Hanson. So there we have it, everyone. There we have it. Victoria is, banning the unvaxxed from Parliament. Let's have a bit of a talk about this. So what do you all think? I can't say I'm at all surprised if they're pushing for these, mandatory mandates or, vaccine mandates in other industries. The politicians should put up with it too. But it doesn't seem right that they can't make them find a way to allow them to vote. It needs to be universal, and then they need to find a way to deal with it to ensure they're not impeding on the rights of the people who voted in those representatives, or they can't mandate it. It's that simple. This is concerning, everyone, where this is heading. A lot of fear. And it shows you what the old health and safety can be used for. It really is used to ram through a lot, to take a lot of freedoms, a lot of liberties, and to control our lives. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. If you're a fan of the channel, guys, and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on our Twitch or Heise Live YouTube channel. You can support us by joining us on YouTube or Patreon, signing up for SelfWealth or Stake, using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.